Dave, remember you showed me how to get rid of that little box up here?
Did I? Did you try pushing escape?
No, I think last time you told me to click on the icon.
Yeah, I think that's what you did. Well, which icon is it?
Down here.
Okay. I'm basically computer illiterate.
You are? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I thought you were a whiz.
No.
Okay, never mind.
What do you need help with that?
The screen is looking like it shouldn't, but never mind. We're already recording. Maybe I should start all over.
That's good.
Actually,
Are you guessing?
just go. Start.
Are you guessing again? Aloha, Tashi Delay from Kauai Tibetan Buddhist Dharma Center on the island of Kauai. We present this class every Thursday night from 6 to 8 o'clock. I'm Lama Tashi, and tonight we're going to focus mostly on breathing meditation practice using 3 lights and 5 elements and Tummo practice, which is similar to Kundalini in the Hindu tradition. Today a question was asked about differences between traditions that teach meditation and prayer, yoga, and other methods for inner awareness development. And any form of inner awareness to practice or method is useful. But
Do you want to hear the exact question?
yeah, go ahead.
How do we remain soft and open in such a hard world?
I was getting to that.
Okay. Good question.
So, Abby said, how do we remain soft in such a hard world? But that question was asked today. But I'm moving in that direction with, it's about motivation. And religions, including Buddhism, not Tibetan Buddhism, but Buddhism, have the motivation of inner development connected to the idea of escaping this hard world. And that's okay. But in Tibetan Buddhism, the motivation has 4 levels. And the first level is all about oneself, which is what most of the religions are about. And I say most Buddhism is like that. And that vehicle or method is called the Hinayana, or relates to similar practices that we do that also are accomplished in the Hindu tradition. And when we use these inner methods of development, which shift our awareness from the drama mind, monkey mind, to the natural mind, which is the mind of awareness of how to be a good human being, is based on loving kindness. And that's the motivation, but loving kindness can be restricted. And when I say restricted, I mean it's not, in other traditions, it's not all inclusive. So what is the Tibetan tradition, what have they done with the Buddha's teachings? And this is why the Buddha took birth in India, in that Hindu nation, was to shift the motivation from Hinayana, the idea of self-realization, or what we call arhat, which is about going to a celestial spirit world, they call heavenly world, gods or goddesses, is he introduced Mahayana. Now, Maha means great, Yana vehicle, but why is it better than Hinayana? Is because he said any form of development which moves a human being towards what he called maturity, we call Buddhahood, is about this loving kindness directed to every situation, every being, everywhere. That's Mahayana. And so Mahayana practice in Tibetan Buddhism, that's the motivation. So when you do your practice, it's all about others. It's all about the environment. It's all about everything. Nothing left out. No one left out. Wow. So that's a lot of responsibility. See? It's not just about you, it's about everybody. Because the Buddha found that through his practice, and he practiced Hinduism, I practice Hinduism, and it was worthwhile. But he found out that in meditation, the mind has two natures. And it's kind of based on truth. The problem of Hinayana is it causes separation. Because the I, me, mine thinks it can leave everybody, everything else, and be in this perfect world of the heavenly realm. But what the Buddha found out is everything is interconnected. And this is a given. This is a scientific fact. And it's based on two functions of energy, which we're energy feeders, and this is an energy universe. And those two functions are light and space. So everything throughout the totality of the fabric of space appears in light forms. And to simplify that, everything is made of particles, we call atoms. And these particles shift, move all the time. So you can't say it's here when it's everywhere. See, you can't say it's this when it's that, and you can't say it's that when it's this. So this shifting causes everything to change. And we have another factor that all light forms eventually disappear and become space. But space doesn't go away. And space is an element. And what the space does is takes all that energy, condenses it, and then puts it back out again into what is called a universe. Two words, universe. one sound, one vibration. So all of that energy again appears as infinite particles of what we see, smell, taste, touch, feel as energy. But the real purpose of the universe is to set up a situation where life can take form. And so it does. And it takes forms in myriad ways. But when it comes to the human condition, we get kind of uppity about it. Because we think we're the ultimate form. See? You know, here's our planet around for billions of years, and then we have these various ages where animals appeared and so forth. And finally we come down to this age of the human life form, which in our time sequential arrangement of the planet is only maybe 100,000 years, 50,000. But now we're down to the situation where we can be conscious on two levels. And this has been going on for about 50,000 years. And all the tribes of the planet have used this two-level system for survival. And what it is the one nature of your mind is sensual and connects that way. We call it the monkey mind, animal mind, is what most of us are involved with, which we judge everything. And because we're judging everything good or bad or high or low, like I said, heaven, that's judged to be high. It causes distortion in our sensual perceptions in our thinking. And all of the animal world is based on loving kindness. That's how the animals survive. It might be just for a few moments, or a few weeks, or a few months, and then the animal changes back to its wild nature, or maybe it doesn't. But in the human condition, it's absolutely necessary. And the Dalai Lama says that's his religion, loving kindness. He was asked, what's your religion? You're not a Hindu, you're not any of this other. What are you? Tibetan, Tantra, shamanistic Lamaism is kind of a far out way of saying that that's your tradition. So he narrowed it down to loving kindness. And he said, no matter what your social situation or status, or what your problems are, that should be the driving motivation between all of your methodology, not just for survival, but to mature, to become a good human being. We say Buddha, but Buddha means just mature. That's all. It doesn't mean God or ultimate or any of that. Some other traditions of Buddhism kind of work that way. That's Hinayana. Mahayana means all-inclusive. Then for some of us humans who have been around for a long time and doing these, I call it, methods of inner development, we have the Vajrayana tradition. So that's another yana. See, yana means vehicle. So we have the Hinayana, which is what most religions are about, including some Buddhism. Then we have Mahayana, which is the Sutra tradition of Buddhism, which is to shift the mind from thinking everything's solid, fixed, and permanent into a state of knowing that everything is just light and space. Illusory is the word, like the sun's light. And that's too simple. So we're very intelligent, we're very attached to that intelligence, being smart and so forth, especially in this industrial age. And that shouldn't be an obstacle. But for most of it is. And so then we have to very gently take that human being's mind and shift it over into a principle that's more like motherhood. And I use that term because in the human condition, the mother's unconditional love for the child, only child, is the perfect example of Mahayana Buddhism. But when you go to Vajrayana Buddhism, you want to take that mother principle and use it sensually, is the best way. Sensually. And when I say sensually, I mean incorporate it with not only the elemental nature of everything that's going on, like the air you're breathing, is the 5 elements, and it keeps you alive, and if you don't do that, you're dead. You're out of the body, you're not dead, you're out of the body. There's no such thing as death, by the way. The body dies, but the consciousness never does. It's been around a long time. It's going to be here a long time. The universe is like that too. No beginning, middle, or end. So when we come into this situation of Vajrayana, we want to go directly into the energy field of light and space. And then we want to take that energy, which is the life force and life support of the universe, inside, and we want to do it physically and mentally. So physically, the best way is your breath. Because the whole universe is supporting you that way. I mean, there's other ways of internalizing, like eating and so forth, but this is the way we do it. And the energy in Sanskrit is called Prana. And Prana means life force, life support force, energy. And when we use this, that's to support this body, but more importantly, to take the denseness out of everything. Because when we use this prana energy, we use it by visualizing the 5 elements which is in the air, which makes everything in the universe, planets, solar systems, galaxies, everything. Your body is all made by the 5 elements. So they're the primordial mother female energy, those 5 elements. But when you breathe them in and visualize them as light energy, you're increasing the prana of the breath, supporting the body, making you healthier. That's the way to put it. But more than that, you're also lessening the dense patterning in your physical situation of what the mind does to the body by being judgmental, by being emotional, a drama mind. It causes the brain and these glands to cause secretions that increase density or patterning inside. And this is the main cause of disease. Dis-ease word. But on 4 levels. See, we experience disease mostly on the physical level, and some of this mentally. But the emotion is the disease, and our form of spirituality is dealing with that emotional energy as a cause of the disease. And if you don't have a basis of loving kindness, consideration for everyone else in the environment, it doesn't work. It's not going to take place, see? So a lot of people do these really powerful practices, and they do gain power, and they do get very healthy and strong, but mentally, not so good. Why? Because it's all about the hinayana. It's all about the I, me, mine. See? This is counterproductive. So tonight we're going to do that. But just remember that you want to be here. You want to shift this very intelligent mindset of this age from here to here. And we use this as symbolic, not just symbolically, but actually. And we're doing that with the breath to start with. And then we do it with all the symbols of the Mahayana Vajrayana path. And the only way, those are just mind training, by the way. Don't think there's high and mighty and better than any other tradition for internalizing energy. They're just to get you ready or get you back to the intrinsic awareness that everything is light and space. Simple. Ultimately simple. That's called the ultimate nature of your mind. That's called the ultimate nature of the universe. And it's neither good nor bad, nor high nor low. Huh? Right away I lost it. Because we don't work that way in the Dharma mind. So we have to graduate. Can't do this all at once. Like everybody wants to be in that state called Mahamudra to start with. And some of the lamas teach the pointing out instruction of the natural mind, of space and energy. And it's beyond conception. So you have to ease into it, and you have to ease into it with the loving kindness coming from your heart towards yourself and everybody else. Or it's defective. I'll just say that. You're increasing your problem. You're creating a bigger ego is what it is. See? A bigger I, me, mine, which can be very dangerous. And in our society today, with the way we're communicating with light and space, with our toys called television, computers, iPhones, and so forth, it's out of control. Absolutely out of control. And the loving kindness isn't there. And then everybody thinks because they're connecting all that way, it's better. Because we're saying everything's interconnected, aren't we? The problem is you're portraying the drama with the lack of loving kindness in the process of these screens. So what Tibetan Buddhism is all about is your internal screen, your mind. Oh, yeah, it's a screen. That's all it is. It just takes everything in and reflects it back out. You know, and to start with, you know, when you first start to develop in the womb and come out, it's a blank. It's an empty mirror. And then mother, father, friends, relatives, everything as you age conditions you. And they stand in front of the screen and tell you this is the way it really is, and you don't know anything else. So you get that. Well, not all of it. See? Some of us carry this internal development from one life to the next. Just like everybody carries their tendencies that they developed of their body, speech, and mind previously to this life. And everything they do this life, they do with their body, speech, and mind is going to go to their next life. Believe, not believe. Tendency. And it's easy to prove that, but I don't want to get too much into that, but it's just simply called karma. And these tendencies are the difference between an ordinary human being and an extraordinary human being. Now, what's my definition of an extraordinary human being? The Dalai Lama. Oh, but he's a monk. I don't want to be a monk. But he's an extraordinary human being. See? And extraordinary in my vocabulary means everything he does is for everybody else, is about everybody else. You know? Yes, he's a monk, but yes, he's a highly developed, mature human being. And that's a good example. We need good examples of this, because this is where we're all going. This life, future life, this is the program. You know, when I say Mahayana in my mind, I'm saying that everybody is already a mature human being in my mind. in my mind. See? That's Mahayana Buddhism. That gets you used to that idea. Then you go to Vajrayana Buddhism and you start to embody it. The Buddha did that. And he's around 80 some years. Some say 80, some say 85, but whatever. He was around for long enough to get the word out to a lot of people. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to start to get this word out of loving kindness. Not just ourselves, but every animal, human being, and yes, spirit, because they can be helpful in the entire universe. And they are all our family. They're all interconnected to us. Like you start off Mahayana, you think of them all as your mother. They're all your life support system also. This life, past life, future life. They're all, look, I didn't make this. Okay? Look, this body, I didn't make this body. Everything is made by everybody else, animal, human, and spirit. So we have some debt there. Now, when it comes to this word debt, we have debtors. And it's good to pay those debts, and this is how we're going to do it. Practicing Mahayana, Vajrayana Buddhism, and learn to rest in the natural state of awareness, which is space and light. And most people will say, well, that's nothing whatsoever. Good. We call it voidness. But if it's voidness, there's no drama. And if that voidness was arised at with loving kindness in an interconnected state of awareness that says everybody's your family, well, now then you won't fixate on it. This fixating is what messes us up. Fixating on Tibetan Buddhism is a no-no. All these practices are just a temporary mind training thing, but once you get into the natural mind, don't fixate on it. Don't become attached to it. Don't become attached to the things that happen to you, these experiences, while you're moving towards maturity. It says it in the small print, bottom of the page. Lama Rishin taught me to read the small print. So we start. Was that good, Abby? Oh, Abby's good.
Very good.
The motivation is the first order of business when you take refuge. Even though they only teach you the refuge prayer, this motivation is in all the texts of the sutra tradition. And so we're going to say it together. I'll chant it once and then we'll say it in English. Sadam Yowa Namke Sadam Yampe Semchem Tamche Dudine Junte Jisi Jenchu Nenko Lachi Pi Bardu. And we read it. In order to attain enlightenment for ourselves and limitless sentient beings, our mothers, we now altogether take refuge and offer prostration. So, I'm going to offer prostration. You can see me a little bit. You go like this. So I take my hands and I raise them above my head. Then I just lay down and stick my arms out in front of me like I'm diving into space. Okay. And my toes are extended because that makes a nice form. Then we stand back up. And I'm imagining all the lamas, deities, protectors, the refuge tree or whatever in front of me while I'm saying, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, lama, deities, and protectors in order to bring all beings, my mother, to maturity, Buddhahood, enlightenment. And I can do this in any direction I want. See? You can do it to a shrine, you can do it to your teacher.
You can do it to Dave.
You can do it to Dave. But the idea is you and all the beings in the universe are doing this together while you're doing this. And if you can do prostrations that way, then you can cook that way. You can garden that way. Okay? You can surf that way. You and all sentient beings on the wave, see? Or whatever you do. But you got to start someplace incorporating your body, meets your mind into this motivation of loving kindness. That it's everybody's doing. What you're doing, everybody's doing. That's Mahayana Buddhism. And if you get that with the practice, it doesn't matter. Chenrezig is the basic practice of loving kindness. Tar is the basic practice of insight into the nature of the universe. And they're inseparable. They're like lovers, consorts, whatever you want to call them. And they're separate in Tibetan Buddhism for obvious reasons of training. But I'm saying that this motivation is the key. And if you don't have it, you might as well be Hindu, yeah, or Sufi, out of the Sufi, or Hawaiian, or American Indian. You see, whatever you like, it's all okay. But eventually, this has to kick in. This life, next life, 10,000 lifetimes in the future. Take your time. I'm in no hurry. Now we're going to say, with the refuge. We go for refuge to all of the glorious holy ones. Now we use the word glorious because, I don't know. They're extraordinary. Somebody else wrote this. We go for refuge to all the idams or the deities gathered in our mandalas, which are hundreds. There's 1,000 of them, actually. That's a lot of sadhanas. You only need one. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered mind and gone beyond. How can you go beyond the mind? You can't. You can go beyond the Dharma mind, which is still conscious. That's what we call mind. We go for refuge to all the supreme Dharma. What does it mean, supreme Dharma? It means Mahayana instead of Hinayana. Or Vajrayana instead of mind. Supreme. It just means extraordinary or faster to become mature. And some people like to get there, right away. We go for refuge to the Noble Sangha. The Noble Sangha is Tibetan Buddhist Lama. We use the word noble because they're the oral tradition. They're not dogmatic. Yes, we have all kinds of texts and writings and stuff, but it isn't about that. It's about inner development. We go for refuge to all the Dakas and Deepenings who are the protectors and defenders of the Dharma. Protectors and defenders of Dharma means protectors and defenders of your egocentric mind. So you become aware that it's very dangerous, this I, me, mine stuff. And it's causing this horrendous situation we find on the planet today. It's the age of extinction. That's not cool. We've lost half of the animal life on the planet. Yeah. Where the animals go, we go. And finally it says, who possess the eye of transcending awareness. Transcending? How can you transcend your mind? Transcending means you move, you transport yourself from drama mind to no drama mind, from judgmental mind to non-judgmental mind, to relative awareness to ultimate awareness. However you want to say that. Yeah, from no practice to some kind of discipline that involves loving kindness. So transcending awareness equals loving kindness. Otherwise, you're not going to go. You're not going to. You'll be at square one for a long time. Now we'll say this in Sanskrit. We'll chant it in Sanskrit. Alden mama dampa nama chaksu shiyo yedam shokor vilaso nama chaksu shiyo sanjay chom dende nama chaksu shiyo dambe chur nama chaksu shiyo Alpegandu Nama Chaksu Shiyo Hao Kandro Chokyong Shume Shore Sheki Shendam Jempa Nama Chaksu Shiyo. The next verse. Sanjay Chodam Choki Choknam Ma Chanchu Baju Chakti Chaksu Shi Chakti Jenso Chipe Sonam Ki Chola Sanjay Sanjay Chupasho. And that second prayer was the bodhicitta prayer. We'll say that in English. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and this Supreme Assembly, we go for refuge. Until enlightenment, may I, through merit gained from practicing the six perfections, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. My mother. I added it. I wonder why that isn't in there. Yeah, I didn't like it. My short take on that, my short take is when you do a prostration, I and all sentient beings, my mothers, we go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Lama deities, and protectors right now. Hit the floor. Come back up, gather all that life force energy, bring it down into my body, speech, mind. I and all sentient beings, I offer my body, speech, and mind, in order that we all practice loving kindness. You don't have to say, we can say, I and all sentient beings, my mother, go to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Lama deities, and protectors, in order to bring us all to having fun. Serious on this end, humorous on the other. Be in the middle. That's what this is, directing this energy from the heart. Both natures of mind together. But what's in the middle between your hands? Void. Space of mind. That's what. And you're pointing it out. And then away we go. From my heart to your heart. Shaka. We have this, you see this, Hawaiian. It becomes a Hawaiian. Anyway, that's the way we do it. That's the way Hawaiian. Called aloha, shaka. My heart to your heart. Connected. We do it this way. When you have this motivation of loving kindness, including everybody and everything, and you use these six supports, the Buddha, the Buddhist teachings, and all the people that practice and teach. That's called the three jewels. With the Lama deity and protectors, that's called the three roots of Tantra. Tantra means connect to the natural mind, avoiding light and energy. Light and space as energy. And the term for that is Dzogchen, mind of bliss. Why? Because it's free. You're liberated. You liberated yourself. You go into that space, you can relax. You don't have to come to Hawaii. Oops. Well, no, actually, that's a good idea. We got 35,000 tourists on an island, 70,000 locals, and that's not appropriate. So maybe half of those should do this one. Mind of bliss. But Maha Mudra in the tradition I follow, the Kagyu tradition, simply means Ma, the great view, the great seal. It means you seal the door shut to the dawn. You gave yourself a breather. There we are. Back to breath. You gave yourself an out, but you're not out. It's just a state of consciousness, which if you don't fixate on it, it allows you to be relaxed no matter what's going on, or where you are, or what's happening. You can just be okay. Abby says infinite okayness. That's two thumbs up. So, back straight, eyes in front, mouth closed, head slightly tilted, hands on the knees or in the lap. Position, mudra. Sitting on a chair or on a cushion, or on the sand on the beach, or on a rock in the middle of nowhere. And bring your consciousness, your focus, your awareness, whatever you want to call it, to your breath. Connect with the entire universe of nature, with the air you're breathing. Watch the air as you inhale, fill your lungs, diaphragm expands, and the air leaving out your nose or your mouth, nose is better, as your diaphragm contracts. Now this simple practice of following the breath, I have to say it's a good practice because I did it for 6 months in a cave in the North Shore of Hawaii, at YMA. But after that, I found out I still have attachment. I still needed. I still was needy. That's word. So then I said, I need help with this. And I was following the path of the yogi. I had that book. And so I started to look for a teacher. The first teacher I ran into, this happened on Maui, was Kala Rinpoche. And what he said, yes, following the breath is very good, but we want to do something that will structure the body, speech, and mind to be there where the breathing is taking place, in the same place as the way he put it. And so he introduced us to the Tibetan tradition of the 3 lights Prana yoga method. And this, he said, is the basis of all the Mahayana and all the Vajrayana training. And if you get this, he said, it's also the way the oral transmission is given mentally, physically, and spiritually in the Tibetan tradition. So we're going to do that. So now, same breathing, bring your focus to your breath, and bring the light, the air as light into your lungs, white light. Visualize, use your imagination, activate these glands, this area of your brain. Then add the middle breath, which is absorbing the energy through the body, and visualize that energy as red light passing through every cell in your body in a flash of red light. And then the third breath, the exhale, is a combination of these two, out the nose to space, where everybody exists, where everything exists. Inhale white light, fill your lungs. Absorption breath, red light through your body. Exhale both as blue light out your nose to space, called the healing breath. Now you practice this way until you achieve a state of peace, inner peace. Calm abiding is the Tibetan word. I call it settling. And you more or less have moved yourself away from, disconnect from the worldly activities of the day. And with this basis of peace and tranquility, you're establishing with this Prana yoga practice, you move to the next level, the next state, where your awareness is centered in the heart chakra as a combination of these three lights coming together and creating a particle. You visualize a tiny particle of light in the center of your chest. And the moment you do that, you create an energy center, a chakra in Sanskrit. And you hold your focus there until you can relax into space and light energy, which is all pervasive. So this is the first dimension of your mind, and it is your ultimate mind. And the reason we say that is because it's all pervasive. It's called the Dharmakaya. Then again create the particle after you have absorbed some time in that basic space of the all-pervasive mind, With your imagination, increase the particle in size until it becomes a small sphere of clear light, which is the energy of the universe, but now you've brought it into a three-dimensional form, which is what the universe does with its energy. Then, since we're meditating, we need a symbol. So you increase the sphere size until it creates one of the 5 symbols of the 5 elements. And tonight we're going to use a half sphere of green light, which represents the air element. And so when you can see this half sphere of green light about the size of your thumbnail in the center of your heart, label it air. And this becomes the psychic energy healing symbol for the practice, which we call the 5 elements healing practice. It represents all 5 elements, but specifically the healing energy of air, gas. Then project that out in front of your body. See it move out in front of your body and up before your eyes, arm's length out in front, about 2 feet in front. Then imagine it to grow in size to completely enclose your physical form. Like you're sitting in this symbol as large as the room you're in. Comfortable. And the ceiling is green and the energy around you is bowl of this half sphere green light. And you're absorbing that light force healing energy into your situation, into your body. Then share it by expanding it in size to completely enclose the area where you live. We visualize the island of Kauai inside. Surrounding ocean, everything, everyone. Keeping your focus and your imagination together, you expand it in size to completely enclose Mother Earth, including her atmosphere of air. Then apply it to the solar system, all the planets and the sun inside. Then project it to enclose the galaxy. And the final step in this process is to move to where you came from, the infinite fabric of space, the entire universe. And since this is beyond the ability of the conceptual mind, your imagination, again relax as you did with the first stage of where you had the particle. And increase your capacity to be okay with the infinite light of boundless space. The infinite potential that represents. Then return from that dimension of being, again imagining the half sphere of green light enclosing the galaxy. That healing energy for infinite beings in that galactic situation. Shrink it in size to just enclosing our solar system, billions of miles across in diameter. And much, much smaller to just enclose Mother Earth inside. With the billions of humans and the infinite number of animals and spirits on this planet. And then to your own neighborhood, island or town or city or area where you live. And smaller to, again, it's just your physical form visualized inside. Absorbing all the life force energy of what you just imagined in this practice. Mentally, physically, and emotionally. Apply this psychic energy to those three dimensions of your being. Then, to finish, bring it back in front of your eyes to its small size, 2 feet in front. Bring it to chest level and into your heart chakra. Condense it, shrink it down to the small clear light sphere, as tiny as you can imagine. And then to the particle which connects you to the infinite light throughout the fabric of boundless space. Relax, no meditation. The home of natural mind. Then bring it to in front of your eyes, this awareness that you are developing, and expand it into your area, your room, or wherever you are, to finish the session. And all answers, questions that need answers, direct them to Abby or
You can write them on your Facebook.
or to Facebook.
If you have a question, any question.
Any question. What's my Facebook?
Mama Tashi.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, see, I'm really a Facebook.
I don't remember. I'm not sure.
Somebody told me I had Facebook. I said, I do. I have a face. What's this book thing? So this is very powerful, this 5 elements healing practice. It's powerful in its simplicity, but it's extraordinary in its result. Because it is Mahamudra practice. It's a sweeper. And anybody can teach it to anybody. There's no patent on this. There's no copyright. See? And if you can teach it, great. And if you acquire wealth and fame and all of that, well, look out. Remember, we have 8 worldly dharma. The dharma doesn't just mean high-mindedness, ultimate awareness. That's what dharma means. The other dharma is the yoga dharma of the natural world of drama. Okay, we need discipline. That's small d. But dharma means the energies of the universe as they appear socially, how we are as humans, animals, or spirits. We have to have the big D because the little d is out of control. It's harmful. It's not only harmful, it hurts. It carries a lot of hurt. You know, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for most of us. Unfavorable. And how do you clear it? How do you deal with it? Loving kindness. And this loving kindness you just apply to yourself by doing this practice. But in the process, you went Mahayana with it. You included the universe. And then you included the natural mind. You started in space, and then you entered in space. Then you left that and came back into the world, and then you entered in space 3 times. The beginning, the middle, and the end. That's to get you used to this. Nowhere in particular ride of Disneyland. Mr. Frog, right?
Toad.
Toad, excuse me. Sorry, Frog. Mr. Toad. Ride to nowhere in particular. See? We got this. Now, that's appropriate for most people. But when we practice Mahayana, we want to do the Sutra and Tantra stuff also. And so Mahamudra is involved in the practice because it uses the mind, body, and speech as all illusory, all based on this energy program of light and space. Your speech is like that because you can't see what you say. It comes out and it's like writing in air. Or writing in the water. It's there, but it's not there. But the speech comes from the patterning and programming of your body. And it comes with the breath. So it's your exhale, at least in our language, is our speech. And the patterning greatly affects what you say because of the mind. So the mind is the boss. So if the patterning of the mind is influencing the patterning in the body, then those two together influence what comes out your mouth. And if you're powerfully focused, like we brought our body, speech, and mind into one place with the 3 lights, and then we did this 5 elements meditation, and that's as good as you can get. That's all we got. Our body, our speech, and our mind. That's it. And so, what's the problem? They don't have compassion, power, and insight. They're missing the big three of the quality development of the human race, which brings you to maturity, Buddhahood. Compassion, power, and insight. Compassion is based on loving kindness. Power is based on loving kindness together with the insight, inner development of your mind. The mental process. And those three, that's the end game. You can have all the qualities in the world out there. Tara has those three as a given. That's we say the 21st star. But she's got these other 20 qualities also. That's why we practice Tara, because it brings out those qualities. It's a very powerful practice. Chen Rezi gets the idea of loving kindness is applied to infinite sentient beings, 4 categories of spirits, all the animals and humans on all the planets everywhere, which is a biggie. But what it doesn't really do, it gives you a feeling like motherhood. You're becoming responsible not only for you and the environment around you, but everybody in it, everywhere. And it's all in your mind. It's not like you really have to do that physically, because that's impossible. But yes, that's what will take place, because this is a shared energy field, this universe. Out here, you say. And so you can tickle it. Yeah. Yeah, you can affect it. And when you do affect it, you can affect it positively or negatively. Favorably or unfavorably. It's your choice. This is when the Lama comes in. Lama said, yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah. I'm playing the master game. We have a book called The Master Game, by the way, which got me rolling on with it. But the master game is simply means you're a master of your own mind, and then the body and the speech follow along. You're like a kid. They have to. And what about if you don't have a body? Well, you always have a form. Huh? Yeah. What do you think spirits? Spirits have form. Well, some of them don't. There's one level of heaven where they play the formless game, but they're very fixated on it. And it takes a long time to get up over that one. Better than that in India. Then they have another game, they play the energy game, and that takes a long time to get over too. Because they're really fun. But if playing the master game means you're disciplining how you affect. You're disciplining what your body, speech, your mind effectively creates in your realm of influence, which could be just to the end of your fingertips, or it could be like in this 5 elements meditation, just the area where you live, and it could be the planet, you can influence the planet. And some people do that, like the Dalai Lama. Or you could be influencing the whole universe. Without being supernatural, without being a uppity God or God. Novel idea, right? Well, that's the Lama's mind. That's what Lamas are trained in, man and woman. That's what we're all trained in. That's what we do. We're messing with it. We're messing with everything. But in a kind of a nice way, supportive, you know. And we're humans. We have errors. Like diamonds that reflect light better when they have flaws. You know, the zircon does it, but it's not very valuable that way. So you got to have something to grow, something to get over. And I'm not talking about life. Life never stops. You're alive in a body, and you're alive when you're not in a body. Now, the next practice is about influencing this prana energy in such a way that Mahayana, Vajrayana, and mind of bliss all enter into the situation. It's called Kundalini in Hindu, which is the Hinayana Kundalini, and it's called Fire Mother in Tibetan, which is Tummo, which actually means horrible mother, hard ass mother, drama buster. This one doesn't give an inch. It's her way or the highway. Really, but it's really good for your body. The mind just goes, ooh. Okay, so I'm going to show you a picture. Oh, she's right here. Tara.
Oh.
Okay. And the Tara comes in 5 flavors. I mean, we have the 21 Tara program, but it all comes down to the element. The mother principle of the universe is the fire. So Tara is the fire element. It's called radiation. Better word. Fire is a form of radiation. The sun is a form of radiation. Nuclear energy is a form of radiation. So it's all like that. And when we start off with the sutra tradition of being peaceful, sitting, relaxed. But we got one leg out like this, ready to move into action. At the drop of a dime, so to speak. And so in her most powerful mode, which she has many, she's standing. And when she's standing, she's shown drinking from a skull cup, which is a metaphor for the bliss energy of the mind. She's absorbing it. And she has either a dorje or a knife pointing down at the physical body she's standing on, which means cutting off ignorance, ego, centric, drama mind. That's what it does. So one way is Maha Mudra, this way, this way. But this peaceful one is easier to use for most of it. And she's just sitting like the green Tara practice that we do with one hand resting on the left, right, holding a blazing jewel. Metaphor for light. In this hand, thumb and ring finger. This is earth, water, fire, air. This is thumb and middle finger, the fire energy she's holding. And then that has a lotus of loving kindness blooming by her left ear. A beautiful red lotus flower, which comes out of all the elements and sits like this. That's by her left ear. She's on a sun and moon disk, which is the symbols of lighting up the dark energy of space. And on a 32-petal lotus flower, which we associate with the heart, mind, heart chakra. And that's red. And she is red. And she has a red aspect of energy around her head they call halo, but it's actually a sphere enclosing the head. And that's the discerning awareness of the drama field is sucks. You get it? The drama field is totally unfavorable. And the alternative of the energy of light itself, which is radiation, which is what she is everything that appears. Everything you can see, everything that you can smell, everything you can hear, taste, sensually. That's her program. Okay, so this is a program. So we're going to visualize ourselves as a red tart, and we're going to say her mantra first to get the ball rolling. Then we're going to do the energy prana yoga breathing that goes with that. Back straight, eyes in front, mouth closed, hands comfortable, head tilted. Breathe the 3 lights. Inhale white, fill breath red, exhale blue. Bring the three lights together, take your focus off the breath, create the particle, connect to space. Relax for a moment, contemplate space. No meditation, just contemplate. Be that. Then draw all that life force energy back into the particle and create the small clear light sphere with your imagination. Expand it to a 5-color sphere of light about the size of your thumbnail. Inside, the three lights create a bindu with a sound, and the sound is Ram. R-A-M. And in Sanskrit, it looks like this. Kind of a two, but is a line with a line going down and a wiggly line under it. It's called Ram in Sanskrit. This is Tibetan. Okay, it connects to Kri, which we use in the Shenrei practice. We don't need to go that far. So we're going to take this Ram inside a 5-colored sphere, and we're going to send that beautiful light energy, 5-colored light, out to the root lama that's giving the oral instruction for this practice. As all the lamas and all the symbols used in the Mahayana and Vajrayana practice. They accept the light offering and return it like lasers from every direction into the Ram in your heart center, and you become Tummo, red tar, Pema Dakini, we call it. Pema means loaded, or Padma, we also say Padma. Young, beautiful, reddish glow complexion, 3 eyes, smiling, 5-jewel crown, dressed scantily in silks and 6 types of jewels. Right leg drawn in, left leg extended onto a lotus, sitting on a sun moon disk and 32 petal lotus, red lotus, in space. So this is all a 3-dimensional hologram you are creating in your mind as this Bodhisattva symbol for this practice. Then we're going to say her mantra as we project this image to the mother that created you. So you see her in front facing you. And then all your relatives, friends, lovers, everybody you have karma with. And you start to create this mandala of light and light beings in your mind. And it's projected outside as the way we did the 5 elements and stages. So then we include all the humans on the planet, 8 billion humans, as this symbol. Then all the animals in the ocean and on the land, infinite in number. And then we fill the mind by all the 4 categories of spirits that inhabit the universe as red tar, Pema Dakini, lotus tar, many different names for this mother symbol. Then we say the mantra. Now the mantra appears in the heart center because you created this mandala and projected to all the living beings everywhere, all the categories of sentient beings as this Bodhisattva in your mind. This is ultimate Mahayana, which we call Vajrayana. And with this vehicle, this method, you power up your speech. And you do that by seeing her mantra circling the wrong inside the 5-color sphere, the chakra, inside your heart area. So now we'll say the mantra, and as you say it, you visualize the Ram in the center, the mantra moving counterclockwise as you sound it, around the Ram, and all that energy through your body and out to space is healing energy. And every sentient being in your mandala as Tara is doing exactly the same thing you are. Om Tara, Tu Tare, Tu Ram Kri Soha. Om Tara, Tu Tare, Ram Kri Soha. Om Tara, Tu Tare, Tu 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 Ram Kri Soha. Now you've established the vibratory energy with your speech, your mind, and the universe together. And this energy program is going to be applied internally with the breath. So whatever you imagine, you projected, we're going to connect to that with this practice of visualizing prana energy coming in, filling our bodies, or entering into each chakra energy area in the body, moving to space, and then back into the body while we breathe. And as we do this, we're going to think or visualize that all the life force support that we need spreads through all the nadis, they're the channels we call the psychic energy channel, nadis, thousands of them all through your body. So rather than visualizing cells, we're now visualizing prana energy channel. And they say 72,000, but just see this light energy flowing through every area of your body, including your hair. And the way you do that is you start with the breath. So extend your fingers, place your palms on your knees, fingers extended. And as you inhale, wrap your fingers around your thumbs. So inhale, then exhale forcefully and extend your fingers out your nose if you can. When you do that, pull your diaphragm in. Inhale, diaphragm extended, fingers around the thumb. Squeeze. Exhale, harshly. Pull the diaphragm in. Inhale. Exhale. Now we can start with 3 of these forced breaths. They're called the 3 clearing breaths. Then we start the actual breathing method by inhale, wrap your thumbs. Hold your breath and visualize the red light energy pervading every cell in your body, but as nadis, as channels of light, thousands of them flowing everywhere. Psychedelic, if you like. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Again. Inhale, wrap your thumbs. Hold, visualize red light energy to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale harshly. Now this time, I'm not counting. Inhale. Exhale. Relax. That's the next step. So we started with 3 clearing breaths. Now we do 3 5-count, hold the breath, create the patterning inside the body of thousands of channels of light, red light, flaming through every area of your body. Now we're going to connect to the chakras with this same breath. And when you inhale this time, make sure you have the diaphragm extended and you're making a pot. This is actually called pot or vase breathing in Tibetan. So belly extended. Inhale. Wrap your thumbs. See the light enter into the base of the sex chakra, red light. Then move up to the navel, then move up to the heart chakra, then move up to the throat, then move up to the head. Then eject into space. See it as a white sphere. Exhale. Inhale. Create the pot belly. Hold the breath. Diaphragm extended. Squeeze the thumb. From space, the red light energy comes down as psychedelic drops, multicolored drops, into the head, into the throat, downward, into the heart chakra, into the navel chakra, back to the sex chakra. Exhale. Now this time we're going to go up and back down in one breath. Inhale, wrap the thumbs. Red lights, sex chakra, up the central channel, navel, up to heart, throat, head, into space as a white sphere. Psychedelic drops into the head, down the throat, to the heart, to the navel, to the sex chakra. Exhale. One more time, without my guidance. Inhale. Hold. Smile. Exhale. So I didn't give you an end to it. Now, there's two ways that we just did this. One way was to have the red light energy just fill the body with thousands of patterns of light. We call those nadis. They're psychic energy patterns, and they actually come from the life force of the breath pervading the body with the five elements. We're creating warmth, which is what the heart does when it expresses loving kindness, warmth. And that is red tar. The radiation of the fire energy, or whatever you want to think, is loving kindness. Why is that? It's because you set up the mandala, her as everybody, everywhere. That's Mahayana Sutra practice. And Vajrayana is when you take it into the central channel and connect it to the life force energy centers in the body, which we have 5. And they originate, the first one originates from the Ram. The second one originates from the Hri. That's why we said Ram, Omtar, Tutari, Turi, Ram, Hri. Soha means everywhere, everyone gets it. But this energy centers within the body are how we do things to counteract emotional tendencies. So each energy center is extraordinarily powerful because it represents the illusory nature of everything as an antidote to emotional conflicting mind, the drama mind. So yes, we have anger, but if you think everything is in a state of oneness, a unity, and that it's all pervasive, that's the antidote to the anger problem, which comes from attachment. No, it comes from aversion, excuse me. Okay, so that's one category. Then we can say, all right, that's a head problem. Then the throat problem is the energy of prana, but we attach that kind of energy, the air energy, to jealousy, envy, feeling less than, inferiority complex kind. But the antidote to that is the activity of the bodhisattva, which is totally favorable, one life to the next life to the next life. Bodhisattvas don't change. Okay? And bodhisattvas are Buddhas. They're mature. And they all operate differently. They're only a Buddha when they're not on a planet. Doing whatever bodhisattvas do. Gardening or something. Whatever is favorable. So that's that one. Then this one is the energy of clarity, knowingness, knowing how to use your common sense and your intelligence appropriately. That's called clarity. And that's the antidote to ignorance, stupidity, bewilderment, and all these other things that we suffer from. Then this one, the power chakra, this is the equalizer. This is the one that overcomes the arrogance of the gods and goddesses. And those that think they're so smart on this planet. Arrogant. See? Politicians. Leaders of religion. Military. Corporation. Can I go on? Hey, endless. But arrogant. So equalizing. But in the process, it causes the discipline of being equal so that you can overcome pride and arrogance. Yeah, so you treat everybody as the same. Independent doesn't work. Being independent is a state of separation. And that's what the whole program that sells everything in the United States is based on. We're the leader of this independent movement. And we think that we call it freedom. It's the opposite. So we want to equalize. And in the military, equalize means to kill. So you got to be careful thinking about equal. We want to kill pride and arrogance. And then finally we get to the sex chakra, which is causing 8 billion humans to proliferate and run amok. It's okay to have 5, 10 kids. Huh? Is it? No. Not anymore, is what I was saying. When my grandfather was alive, he needed all those children to help him run his horse ranch. Okay? 15 kids. Really? I had a lot of aunt and uncles. Talk about discipline. Huh. That was then. Nowadays, 1 is too many. But at the same time, you got to honor the human condition because only humans can become mature. So we got a big oxymoron. Oxys on one side, morons on the other. So you got to use your discipline. But we're talking about discerning that your natural mind of clear light awareness applied to all of these situations is infinitely better than the drama mind. Infinitely better. Why? Because it has infinite potential and your drama mind is definitely limited. We're definitely limited. When we start judging good and bad, we create a huge problem. When we say I am low, we create a huge problem. When we become independent, we create a huge problem. Because it's not workable. In fact, it's counterproductive. So that's the discerning mind. That is the consort of red Tara, which is the free, which is this guy, the 1,000 armed Chinese, with Buddha Amitabha on his head. See? Now back to breathing. When you do Tummo, hook your tongue back towards your throat. And just touch the roof of the mouth with the tip of your tongue, like that. And squeeze your sphincter. And squeeze it. Not too tight. Now, inhale, wrap the thumb. Your Tara, everybody's Tara. Visualize red light patterning your whole body, fire energy. Hold your breath. No counting. Just be Tara and hold your breath. Tongue touching the roof. Hot belly. Tension. Squeeze your thumb. Stick your toes up if you want to. Squeeze your sphincter. hold, visualize. As long as you can hold your breath. Now that's the Mahayana Tara. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing, only this time we're going to go up the central channel through each chakra to the white sphere symbolizing the totality of space. And back down and end in the sex chakra. Inhale. And when you end in the sex chakra, you can exhale or you can continue to hold your breath. Inhale. Tongue touching, sphincter, belly, diaphragm expanded, squeeze. White sphere is drops of energy coming down, psychedelic drops. Hit the head, then the throat, then the heart, then the navel, then the sex chakra. Stay there and continue to hold. Bliss. What is it? Wow. See, that's orgasmic bliss in Tibetan Buddhism. You know? This is when you come face to face with your own energy. You know? Right? Yeah. Now there's all kinds of ways to modify what we just did. This is the simplest we can make for everybody. But you've got to have the basis of the Tara mantra, visualization, and the connection to the Lama, because the Lama is the Tara. And that teaching symbol is the mind training program, which is a mental mind-to-mind connection, because there's no separation. But then there's no separation. If there's no separation of the mind of the Lama in your mind, then that means there's no separation to everybody's mind. Oh, now we're dealing with that state of emotionality. Humans are very emotional. Needy. Any questions? Direct them to Abby or Facebook. Tashi's Facebook. Can't get over that. I've never once done that. Yeah. Okay. You get it? So, what is the reference of the second breath? The first breath is the reference of the Tara, and all the energy just running through thousands of psychic channels through your body. They say 72,000, they say 84,000, or whatever. Just thousands of light everywhere through your body, even in your hair, and then out to space. And they come from the Ram, this symbol, and the mantra in your heart. That's Mahayana. Vajrayana, the Ram and the Hri together bring the 5 elements as the radiation element, because you can't separate the elements either. Nothing is separate. Everything is interconnected. That's a given in shamanism. Real shamanism, not this modern age stuff, this hokey pokey shamanism that's going around. Okay? On web. Okay. Now, when you internalize it, that's where these energy spheres, as antidotes to emotional affliction, start to do their thing. And they pass the energy through the psychic channel. So as it hits this channel, starting here, where you start here, all that goes through your body. Then the power of this, all that goes through your body. Then the power of this, then this, then go to space, because you don't want to fixate, remember? Voidness is the ultimate condition of space. So this white sphere takes all that energy, then it goes, and millions of particles, they call them drops, psychedelic particles, come back in and dissolve this idea. This is an idea. Dissolve this one, dissolve this one, dissolve this one, dissolve this one. Now you're just, what radiation is, nothing whatsoever. Light. Oh, I can hold my breath forever. I can't explain it any better. That's why we made these. Because when it gets into ultimate Tantra, Tibetan Buddhism, it isn't better than Sutra. Sutra does what it's supposed to, but it's not as, direct. And therefore, the Sutra tradition is okay for everybody. But the Tantra tradition is only okay for a few humans that have done this before. And there aren't many of us on the planet. Thousands, maybe. Now Rinpoche said, maybe a million. He said, that's a stretch. And don't get uppity about it. Just share it. If you've got that potential, share it. Whatever your modality is, whatever your propensity, you've got your intelligence, you've got your physical abilities. Everybody is unique and same at the same time. We're all the same. We're all the same in this way. We're all the same in this way. But we're unique in how we put it out there. Right? And that makes it fun. When you go to Disneyland, you don't just do one ride. You do as many as you can afford. Now comes the end game. Now we played the end game throughout the 5 elements, and we played the end game throughout this Tummo practice, because at the end of the Tummo, the end game is when you were experiencing the bliss. Okay, this technique. In Tibet, this was very practical because the actual warmth of this practice started to permeate the bodies of the practitioners to the point where they could walk in the snow barefoot or without clothing. Or like one of the teachers that we have in our lineage, Bill Raven, he intentionally wore cotton. You never want to wear cotton in freezing weather. That's a killer. You wear wool. But he wore cotton. And he even made a little cotton glove and put it on his penis. Yeah, he was famous for it. But what I'm trying to say is this inner warmth can develop to the point where you can completely control your temperature under extreme heat or cold. They use it for survival in cold. But it works both ways. So I'm showing you the practical. The end game is to go back to the heart center where the particle is. This is how you do it. Sit like you've just been doing the Tummo practice, or your red arm. And everybody in your mandala was doing this practice, same as you. Now visualize infinite sentient beings, light forms, streaming into your hologram, you as the red tar, made of light. Like rain into a lake. And when you can see yourself again, alone in space, disappear your hologram as Tara, your symbol, into the heart mantra. Om Tara Tutare Ture Ram Hri Soha. And then all those mantric vibration sound disappear into the Ram. And the Ram in a five-colored sphere of light condenses, shrinks in size in stages until it again becomes the particle in your heart center. And that disappears into the boundless light of space. Relax. No meditation. Just stay present. No future, no past. Now, moment to moment awareness. Until there's no moment. This is called the accomplishment stage of tantric practice. where you gain realization of your own true nature. And at the end of this accomplishment stage of tantric practice, you again become the deity, the yidam. And that's for post-meditation projections into your life. And then all sound can translate into the mantra, so that all vibrations and appearances become the mandala of the deity. And so that the bliss nature of the practice can pervade whatever you are doing, whoever you are with. Then dedicate the merit. Now the reason that we dedicate and the reason we make aspirations, which is a very high level of practice of what we're going to do with all this in the future. And the reason that we relax in timeless awareness is so that as we move, either in temporal existence or not, the patterning persists. The healing energy persists. And it does it on its own. There's no I, me, mine. It's the nature of the universe. And what that simply means is your mind, your consciousness, and the universe, which is conscious, a conscious being, equal, same. So, no problem. But when you do take birth on a planet as an individual human being, it's favorable. It's called a favorable rebirth. And you don't have to be judgmental about it. It's just an act of loving kindness. This favorable rebirth stuff, they say tukals in Tibetan, are only that. You know, it's not high and mighty. You know, it's not that you're better than anybody else. That kind of judgmental way of being isn't there. So you don't have to put them on a pedestal. And they appear in male and female form. And they appear everywhere. Ordinary. Karmapa appeared clear out in the middle of the Tibetan plateau to a family of yak herders. Right? And he didn't know what he was doing out there. You know? Roaming around out. It's a huge, 1,500 miles across this Tibetan plateau. There's no mountains there. And it's cold, windy. Wind blows all the time. And they had to keep moving because the animals would run out of forage. And their animals was what they sustained them. But because he was this tuku, this favorable rebirth kind of human, he had some gifts. And they were recognized when he was little. And his father would say, you know, when you do certain things, we get the right kind of weather, or we find the right kind of pasture. And so his father would reward him. He said, I know you're doing that. Father had some kind of, you know, when you're out in nature, you have insight. Okay. And so he was happy because he was treated special because he could do these. But he said, I didn't know what I was doing. It just happened around me, you know. And then they came and grabbed him. The lamas, they came. They knew he was out there. Mamas have intuition. And so they came and grabbed him and took him to what was his monastery. Well, his monastery was all blown up by the Chinese. It took them 7 years to blow it up and move it. But they had erected one building, so they had at least a place for him to get out of the wind. This was up in the mountains. And I'm telling you this story because favorable rebirth looks ordinary, but effect. So once you get this effect rolling, wow, whatever you want to do, good. It's good. And goodness is a quality. You know? No harm to self, no harm to others, no harm to the environment. And maybe really good at it. Maybe not. Be careful. Now we dedicate the merit. Dedicating the merit is a way of us giving this all to everybody else, verbally. By this virtue, and then the virtue is what we did tonight, this practice. It's called merit. It's kind of a Boy Scout term. After realizing Mahamudra, which is nature of mind, may I quickly establish all beings without a single exception in this state. With the blessings of the Buddhas who obtained the three bodies, with the blessing of the unchanging truth of the Dharma, and through the blessing of the unwavering aspirations of the Sangha, that's us, may the dedication of prayer be fulfilled. The three bodies are the body, the vehicles is a better word, of your body, speech, and mind, being, compassion, power, and insight. Transform. That's it. Nothing better than that. No matter what. Kerwadi, Nurdu, Chadra, Chambo, Joseph, Gora, Ching, Nam, Te, Sama, Goparsha, Sanjay, Kusu, Nempai, Jim, Shoni, Major, Nempai, Jim, Yandu, Miche, Dupai, Jim, Marti, Shaitar, Monan, Ju, Arashu. And I have a Tashi prayer that all the Lamas have long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity. May all sentient beings be happy, free of suffering. And by our practice, establish in bliss and equanimity. Uchiche. Aloha. Mahalo. Shaka. My heart to you. Do that, Shaka. They have little flags with Shaka flag.